What if I told you that the moment you grab your keys, your dog's brain starts changing? Not emotionally, not metaphorically, physically. Within seconds, specific stress circuits inside your dog's brain begin firing. Their heart rate starts shifting, and for some dogs, the experience can feel surprisingly similar to panic. But here's the shocking part. Most dog owners unknowingly trigger this reaction themselves. In fact, one common goodbye habit that millions of people do every single day can increase a dog's anxiety before the owner even reaches the front door. And the worst part, it feels like an act of love. Today, we're going inside your dog's brain to uncover what really happens when you leave. Why some dogs stay calm while others struggle. And the simple science-backed changes that can completely transform the way your dog experiences your absence. Stay until the end, because the final discovery might completely change the way you say goodbye forever. Before you even touch the doorknob, before you grab your keys, before you say goodbye, your dog already knows. And no, it's not because they're psychic. It's because your dog has been studying you every single day. The way you walk, the way you breathe, the order in which you do things, the tiny habits you don't even realize you have. In fact, researchers have found that dogs are incredibly skilled at detecting human behavioral patterns. Long before an obvious departure cue appears, many dogs already know what's about to happen. Think about it. Maybe you always check your phone before leaving. Maybe you put on shoes in a certain order. Maybe you walk slightly faster when you're preparing to go somewhere. Your dog notices all of it. And the moment those patterns begin, something fascinating starts happening inside their brain. The emotional center of the brain immediately begins evaluating the situation. Is my human leaving? How long will they be gone? Should I be concerned? For calm and confident dogs, the answer may be simple. No problem. They'll come back. But for sensitive dogs, the brain begins preparing for separation before the separation even happens. Heart rate increases, attention becomes hyper-focused, stress hormones begin rising. And here's the shocking part. Most owners accidentally make this moment worse. Imagine you're about to leave for work. You suddenly feel guilty. You kneel down, you hug your dog. You say things like, "I'm so sorry. I'll miss you. Be good. I hate leaving you." To a human, those words sound loving. But your dog isn't analyzing your vocabulary. They're analyzing your emotional state. And what they detect is something completely different. They see heightened emotion, unusual behavior, extra attention, extra affection, extra intensity. To their brain, this can signal that something important or concerning is happening. It's similar to how a child reacts when adults around them suddenly become emotional. Even without understanding the words, they know something feels different. Dogs operate in a remarkably similar way. Their brains are constantly reading emotional information. Every movement, every facial expression, every change in energy. Your dog isn't listening to what you're saying. They're listening to what your nervous system is saying. And if your body communicates tension, their body often mirrors it. This is why some dogs start following their owners from room to room the moment a departure routine begins. It's not stubbornness. It's not manipulation. It's anticipation. Their brain is gathering information, trying to predict what comes next, trying to determine whether they should relax or prepare for stress. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Scientists often describe dogs as social attachment animals. In simple terms, your presence isn't just emotionally comforting, Your presence actually changes how their nervous system functions. When you're nearby, many dogs experience lower stress levels, lower vigilance, greater relaxation. Your presence acts like a biological safety signal, which means when signs of departure appear, that safety signal feels like it's starting to disappear, and the brain reacts accordingly. For some dogs, this reaction is mild. For others, it can become overwhelming. This is why owners sometimes return home to find chewed furniture, destroyed pillows, scratched doors, or neighbours complaining about barking. These behaviours aren't usually about revenge. Dogs don't sit there plotting punishment. Instead, these behaviours often emerge from a nervous system struggling to regulate stress. Oh, the dog isn't thinking, "Nah, I'll teach my owner a lesson." The dog is thinking, "I don't know how to calm myself right now." And that's a huge difference, because once you understand that truth, everything changes. Instead of seeing bad behaviour, you start seeing communication. Instead of punishment, you start looking for solutions. And that's exactly where we're going next. Because if your dog's brain begins reacting before you even leave, then what you do in those final moments becomes incredibly important. In fact, the next step might be the most powerful thing you can do before walking out the door. Now that you understand what's happening inside your dog's brain, let's talk about the solution. And surprisingly, it doesn't involve expensive training programs. It doesn't require special equipment, and it takes less than 60 seconds. But before we get there, I want you to try a quick experiment. Think about someone in your life who always seems calm, the type of person who walks into a stressful situation and somehow makes everyone else feel relaxed too. Maybe it's a parent, a friend, a coach, or a mentor. Have you ever noticed how their calmness spreads? Without saying much, people around them naturally begin relaxing. Dogs experience something very similar, except they're often even more sensitive than humans. Studies have shown that dogs can detect changes in human emotional states through facial expressions, body language, vocal tone, and even scent. Your emotional state doesn't stay inside you. Your dog picks up on it constantly, which means if you're stressed before leaving, your dog often feels it. If you're rushed, your dog notices. If you're anxious, your dog notices. If you're guilty, your dog notices that too. This is why the first minute before departure is so important. Most owners spend that final minute focused on tasks, finding keys, checking messages, looking for wallets, turning off lights, thinking about traffic, thinking about work, thinking about everything except the emotional atmosphere they're creating. Meanwhile, their dog is standing there collecting data, reading every signal, trying to understand what's happening. So here's the brain hack. For just 10 to 15 seconds, stop everything. Walk calmly toward your dog. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Take one slow breath, then make gentle eye contact. Not intense eye contact, not staring, just calm, relaxed connection. No excitement, no baby voice, no dramatic goodbye speech, just calm presence. Then slowly look away first. Why does this work? Because in canine communication, calmness is information. Your dog isn't looking for motivation. They're looking for reassurance. And reassurance isn't excitement. It's stability. When your body communicates, everything is normal. Your dog's nervous system becomes far more likely to reach the same conclusion. Think of yourself as an emotional thermostat. When you're calm, you help regulate the entire environment. When you're anxious, you unintentionally increase the temperature. And here's something most owners never realize. Dogs don't need a perfect life. They need predictable signals. Predictability creates safety. The brain loves patterns. When your dog repeatedly experiences calm departures, their brain begins building evidence. Evidence that departures are temporary. Evidence that being alone isn't dangerous. It's key evidence that you always come back. Over time, this evidence becomes confidence. And confidence changes everything. The dog who once paced near the door starts resting. The dog who once barked for hours starts settling faster. The dog who once panicked starts recovering more quickly. Not because they were forced, but because their brain learned a new expectation. And that's the secret. You're not trying to convince your dog with words. You're teaching their nervous system through repetition. Every calm departure is a lesson. Every predictable routine is evidence. Every relaxed goodbye strengthens trust. And in the next section, we're going even deeper because there's a hidden area of your dog's body where stress physically builds up. Most owners never touch it. Most dogs desperately need it. And what happens when you release that tension can completely change how your dog experiences being alone. Let's talk about the goodbye, because this is where most owners accidentally sabotage everything, and they do it for the sweetest reason possible. Love. Think about the last time you left your dog. What did you do? Did you kneel down, give extra hugs, use a softer voice? Say something like, "I'll miss you." "Be good. I love you. See you later, buddy." Maybe you gave one last cuddle. Maybe you looked back through the window. Maybe you opened the door again for one final goodbye. It makes perfect sense. Almost every dog owner has done it. You're trying to show love. You're trying to make the separation easier. But here's the surprising truth. Your dog doesn't interpret that moment the same way you do. Remember, dogs pay attention to emotional intensity, not emotional explanations. When you suddenly become more emotional than normal, your dog notices. When your voice changes, your dog notices. When your behavior changes, your dog notices. And their brain immediately asks, why is this moment different? Why is my human acting differently? Should I be concerned? The more dramatic the goodbye becomes, the more important the event appears. And the more important the event appears, the more alert the brain becomes. This is why many separation anxiety specialists recommend something that sounds almost strange. A boring exit. Not a cold exit. Not an uncaring exit. A boring exit. Because boring signals safety. Boring signals predictability. Boring signals normality. And normality is exactly what your dog's nervous system needs. Imagine 2 different departures. In the first one, the owner rushes over, gets emotional, gives multiple hugs, uses a high-pitched voice, keeps returning for one last goodbye, then finally leaves. The dog's brain thinks, something important just happened. Now imagine the second departure. The owner stays calm, moves normally, uses the same relaxed tone they always use, says a simple phrase, then leaves. No drama, no lingering, no emotional explosion. The dog's brain receives a completely different message. Nothing unusual is happening. This is routine. This ends the way it always ends. That message creates security because confidence isn't built through excitement. Confidence is built through predictability. And here's something truly powerful. Every calm departure becomes evidence. Evidence that your dog survives being alone. Evidence that you return. Evidence that separation isn't danger. Day after day, week after week, month after month. Those experiences reshape expectations. And expectations shape emotional responses. Eventually, your dog stops preparing for a crisis that never comes. They stop treating departures like emergencies because their brain has learned a new truth. My human leaves, my human comes back, and everything is okay. That is real confidence, not distraction, not avoidance, not temporary comfort. True confidence. But we're not done yet, because even after you leave, your dog continues searching for one thing, a signal that you're still close, a signal hidden in plain sight, a signal so powerful that it can instantly change how safe your dog feels while you're gone. And most owners completely overlook it. Imagine this. You've left the house, the front door has closed, your car is halfway down the street, and yet your dog is still searching for you. Not with their eyes, not with their ears, but with the most powerful sense they possess, their nose. Humans experience the world visually. Dogs experience the world chemically. To your dog, scent isn't just smell. It's information. It's memory. It's emotion. It's security. It's connection. And that's why what happens next is so important. Because the moment you leave, your dog begins looking for evidence. Evidence that you still exist nearby. Evidence that the bond is still intact. Evidence that they're safe. And one of the strongest pieces of evidence available is your scent. Researchers have discovered that when dogs smell their owner's scent, reward and attachment-related areas of the brain become significantly more active. Think about that for a second. Your scent doesn't just remind your dog of you. Your scent literally changes activity inside their brain. It tells them, my person is real. My person exists. My person will return. For anxious dogs, this information can be incredibly powerful because anxiety thrives on uncertainty. The less certain the brain feels, the more alert it becomes. The more alert it becomes, the harder it is to relax. But when your scent remains present, the brain receives reassurance, not through words, not through training commands, but through biology. Now imagine two different homes. In the first home, everything smells neutral. Freshly cleaned floors, freshly washed blankets, air fresheners, cleaning products. Very little trace of the owner remains. For a sensitive dog, that environment can sometimes feel surprisingly empty. Now, imagine the second home. A recently worn sweatshirt rests beside the dog's favorite sleeping spot. The scent is familiar, comforting, recognizable. The dog curls up nearby, breathes it in, and receives a powerful message. My person isn't here right now, but they're still part of this environment. As that message matters far more than most owners realize. And here's the best part. It's incredibly simple. Before leaving home, place a recently worn shirt, hoodie, or sweatshirt where your dog naturally likes to rest. Not freshly washed, not sprayed with fragrance, something that genuinely smells like you. Because that's the information your dog is looking for. Your scent becomes a bridge, a connection between presence and absence, a reminder that separation is temporary. And while no single technique solves every anxiety problem, this small habit can make a surprisingly big difference, especially when combined with everything we've covered today. Think about the complete picture. Your dog sees a calm owner. Your dog feels a relaxed nervous system. Your dog experiences physical tension release. Your dog witnesses a normal, predictable departure. Your dog remains surrounded by familiar scent cues. What message does the brain receive? Not danger, not abandonment, not uncertainty, but safety, predictability, security. And over time, that's exactly what creates confidence. Because confidence isn't built in a single day. It's built through evidence. Evidence repeated hundreds of times. Every calm departure, every successful return, every predictable routine, every moment your dog learns, my human always comes back. That lesson becomes stronger. The fear becomes weaker. And eventually, being alone stops feeling like a threat. It simply becomes another normal part of life. So before you leave your dog tomorrow morning, remember this: your dog isn't judging how much you love them. Your dog is reading how safe you feel. And when you learn to communicate safety, everything changes. Not just their behavior, not just their stress levels, but the way they experience the entire world. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and join thousands of dog lovers who are learning the hidden psychology behind canine behavior. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what's your dog's name? And which of these techniques are you going to try first? Because every dog that learns to feel safer when alone is a dog living a calmer, happier life. And that's something worth sharing. We'll see you in the next video.